Let's talk about timing, and you can see below here we've got the pavilion clock, and we've got on the clock 11 a.m. through to 7 p.m. and we got 1 minute through to 60 minutes. So a test match obviously is a 5-day game if necessary. It can take less time than that if a team wins before the 5 days are over. But if no one wins in those 5 days, it obviously is a draw. Now each day has 6 hours of play. And in those 6 hours of play, they're split into 2-hour sessions. So we have 3 2-hour sessions. We have the first 2 hours, generally called the morning session. We have the middle session for another 2 hours, and then we have the afternoon session or the evening session, which is 2 hours. So on the Lambourne games, they have play starting at 11 o'clock. So for instance, we are starting at 11 o'clock, and then we have another Turkin down here for 1 o'clock. Now, we are going to go from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the first session. So that's your first session, that's 2 hours. Then we break for lunch, which is for 40 minutes. So if we are at 1 p.m., it hits 1 p.m., they go for lunch, they've been playing for 2 hours. Then we break for 40 minutes. So we've got up here, we've got 1:40 is when the players come back out and they play another 2 hours for that middle session. So that'll go all the way through to 3:40. So 1:40 to 3:40 is the middle session, and you've played 2 sessions, you've played 4 hours. The tea break is the next break we have, and that's not as long break, that's a 20-minute break. So it'll go from 3:40 to 4 o'clock. So at 4 o'clock, they'll come out and they'll play the last remaining two hours. And that'll go across to 6 o'clock, and that'll be stumps. Now, if all the overs in a day's play are not finished by then, they can also play another half an hour, so to 6:30, to try and make up some of those overs that were missed. There should be 30 overs a session or 90 overs in the full day's play. Now, in some eras, it's a lot more than that, but in modern Test cricket, it is 90 overs a day, and you have 6 hours to bowl those in. You have an extra half an hour after those 6 hours if you don't fit all those 90 in. Now, if we look at 30 overs per session, that's 30 overs in 2 hours, which is 120 minutes. So we want every over, on average, to average out at 4 minutes per over. Okay, but the way it works in international cricket is different for the different types of bowlers. So let's go have a look at that. I'm just going to pause it and get a couple of bowlers cards, and we'll go about how we time each specific over depending on what type of bowler they are. Right, so first of all, we want to have a look up here, and it says elapsed time, and this is a key for you to know how many overs are going to be, how many minutes are going to be taken off the clock for every over that is bowled. So let's go back to 11 a.m. and we're just starting play. It's 11 o'clock exactly. Okay, so the key up here is S equals slow bowler or a spin bowler, and that'll take 3 minutes off the clock. M is a medium bowler, so he bowls medium pace. That'll take 4 minutes off the clock. MF is medium fast. That'll also take 4 minutes off the clock. And fast medium is FM. That'll take 4 minutes off the clock. And then you have just fast or express pace, and that is 5 minutes off the clock. The reason being, a spinner only takes a few steps to run up, so they can bowl the over a lot quicker. They can bowl their 6 balls a lot quicker. These other ones are in the middle. They generally take an average amount of time. As I said, 30 overs times 4 is 120 minutes, which would be a full session. But obviously the faster bowlers generally have a longer run-up to get that speed, and they'll take a little bit longer to complete their over, so a 5-minute increment for a fast bowler. I've got out 5 bowlers here, mainly from Zimbabwe, and we've got one, Shaheen Sharafidi from Pakistan. So Shaheen Shah Afridi is a left-hander, an L, left-hand fast bowler. Okay, so a fast bowler is an F. There's no LF there because it's just medium, fast, medium, and fast. So he's a fast bowler. When he completes an over, we're going to take 5 minutes off the clock. So we're at 11 o'clock. 5 minutes are done. Okay, so say the next over was bowled by a right arm fast medium bowler, Kyle Jarvis. So we look for FM for fast medium, and we see that's 4 minutes off the clock. So at the end of the second over, 9 minutes are gone. So it's 11:09 now. So Afridi's bowled the first, Jarvis bowled the second. Now, obviously, they generally bowl a few overs at a time. So Afridi would come back and he'd bowl another over, and it'd be another 5 minutes. So that 9 would go to 14 minutes. It's 11:14 now. For the fourth over, Jarvis comes back on. He bowls another over, and he's a fast medium bowler, so that's 4 minutes. We have 18 minutes gone. Now, generally they'll bowl a few more overs than that, but what if they then brought on Hamilton Matsukatsu, and he's a right arm medium pace. So a medium pace is also 4 minutes. That'll take it to 22. And then they decided, let's bring on some spinners. Now, there's two types of spinners here. There's an off-break bowler or a leg break bowler. So an off spinner or a leg spinner, they both take the same amount of time. So they're both slow bowlers. So slow bowlers are 3. So say, for instance, Raza bowls an over. It's up to 25 because that's 3 minutes. Then Bell comes on, 28. So that's exactly how you do it. You just have a look at the key up the top of what type of bowler it is, and the key up here for how many minutes that takes. Now, the only thing that's going to change that time is if a wicket falls. So say, for instance, Sikandar Raza bowls this over here. So by the end of the over, we use 3. So it's gone from 28 down to 31. But say Sikandar Raza dismissed the batsman Tamim Iqbal from Bangladesh. So there's a wicket there. Now, when a wicket falls, the batsman has to go from the middle of the ground, walk all the way off the field, which could be 50, 60, 70 metres, and then another batsman has to come in and walk all that distance into the middle of the pitch. He needs to take guard, get ready to face before the next ball is bowled. So there's obviously a little bit of time there. So what they do in the rules is whenever a wicket falls, you also add a bonus 2 minutes on there. So instead of that overtaking 28, 29, 30, 31, 3 minutes, it's taken 5 minutes because Tamim Iqbal got out. So anytime a wicket falls, you an extra 2. An extra 2 minutes per wicket plus the normal allotted time for an over. So that's how time works. So 3 sessions of 2 hours. Here's how many minutes each. An extra 2 minutes for every wicket. And it's as simple as that. As I said, for one-day cricket, just count the overs. So it's a 50-over match. Just don't worry about using this. Just count the overs. That's the first over done, the second over done, the third over done, etc. I'm going to go into weather for these things soon. You can see there's weather check and weather check here for test match replay. I'll go into all that very shortly. But when you do play a test match, you'll need to keep the clock. And this is basically in minutes and hours. And from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. or even 7 p.m. here. Now, if it starts a little bit earlier than that, like in Australia, sometimes in some of the fields it can start at, some of the grounds it can start at 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. But generally it's going to start around 10:30, 11 a.m. and go through to 6 o'clock at night, or 10:30 and go through to 5:30 at night. So any questions, just let me know.